Hi guys, welcome to day 17 of the 21-day purpose challenge. All the heavy lifting is over. Now we get to move all of this wisdom you have, all this self-awareness, all this deep connection to your life's purpose. We get to start to put it into action, take it out into the world. And that begins by discovering your purpose project or creating your first purpose project. It's not, remember, purpose is evolutionary, so it's not the final thing you're going to do in the world of purpose. But we're going to start to move it into action today. But first I want to share some important dates with you. This Saturday, February 20th, is the last day of the 21-day challenge. Now, you still get access to the exercises for a full 8 days, unless you do the Challenge Plus program, and you get another 30. So Sunday, February 28th, is the final day to complete the lessons, receive your certification, and get your completion bonus, the Love on Purpose exercise. It's going to bring you into a deeper connection with how you move your purpose into your love life. How do you transform your relationship to love, becoming a more purposeful single person or a more purposeful partner in a relationship? So you're gonna get that important exercise on the 28th when you finish. So this 20th is also another important day because it is the last day to get the early bird discount for the Psi Omega program. So the program's $347. It's a 6-week course to more fully dissect your ego, really work with all the resistance, and then do another deep soul access exercise. So that $347 program is only $297 if you sign up before the 28th. Or you can get that program for free if you decide to do an advanced program. So if you sign up for the P4 course, you're going to get that $347 program for free. So in essence, you're getting 4.5 months of training to deepen your self-awareness, pulling apart your ego structure, really getting to know it, understanding all the forms of resistance. You're going to get a deeper soul purpose connection exercise, and then you're going to put that into motion with your career. So to build a purpose-driven venture, to live in this place of your purpose driving everything you do at work. So that's what the P4 course is about. It's about launching you into the marketplace as somebody who is purpose aware and gets to live their purpose every single day. So make sure if you want to do the P4 course, apply for that before before Sunday the 28th, because you're going to get the free Psi Omega program. So the Psi Omega program starts on Tuesday, March 1st. It ends on the 13th of April. And then the P4 course, so we give you 2 weeks off in between Psi Omega and P4, and the P4 starts May 1st. So let's jump into your purpose project today and start to create it. There's nothing more important than putting your purpose into action. So when I first turned on in my late 20s, and I was started to explore this idea of purpose and social enterprise, and I didn't actually put my purpose into a project form. I said, okay, well, I'm committed to sustainability, I'm committed to justice, I'm committed to spirituality, so I'll just work on things that I feel aligned with. So it was, first a renewable energy company, then a nonprofit, then a media company, then a startup, and then this personal development program, then this meditation retreat, and then that personal development program, then this yoga retreat. And I was just exploring. I was like, oh, this feels aligned. This feels aligned. And they were, for the most part. But what I didn't know was that my purpose was actually calling me forth to live it, not just to explore it, not just to kind of, try to understand spirituality or try to understand soul or try to understand this, but to actually to live it, to put it into practice. So when I first turned on to my purpose on February 12th, 2012, my purpose project was my company. It was Everone. I started it that day. It was like, I need a project, and it wasn't that I had an idea of what my purpose was. It was revealed that I needed to start this company. So my company became my purpose project. And it was amazing. I mean, I had something discrete to work on. I was getting feedback. I built a team. I launched a business. Created customers in all these different parts of the world, and was getting feedback on my purpose, getting feedback on my ability to connect my deepest truth with what's out there in the world. And so my experience of my purpose, was not just exploration. It was like, oh, I want to see if this works. Although there very much is an exploratory component to the purpose project, it was action. I was putting it into action, getting feedback, risking myself, being comfortable with that fear of being rejected. You got to hear a lot of no's when you create a business out of your purpose, and that's fine. That's what this work and the Psi Omega program prepares you for. But it's only when we declare it, when we say, here's who I am, this is my vision, these are my values, this is my offering, and start to find and create customers, that the purpose starts to rapidly evolve, because you're getting all this rich feedback in the from your purpose project team, from your customers, from your team members. So you're getting all this rich feedback on your purpose, and you're accelerating the way that your purpose develops. So when you do this kind of lean startup method with your business, you're going to accelerate your understanding of your purpose. You're going to try this, say, oh, that didn't work, and let's explore why, and then so the purpose growth actually exponentially grows, or your understanding of your purpose exponentially grows when you put it into action with a project. So you're going to get a chance. You are going to do that over the next few days. So, but first, I'd like to share with you a quote from Malcolm X. And, well, if you don't know who he is, he's a civil rights activist, Muslim, Black Power voice. Really gave voice to, look him up if you don't know him. So Malcolm says, I just don't believe that when people are being unjustly oppressed, that they should let someone else set rules for them by which they can come out from under that oppression. So I'll read that again. I just don't believe that when people are being unjustly oppressed, that they should let someone else set rules for them by which they can come out from under that oppression. So what Malcolm is talking about, in the context is racial oppression. So, African Americans being oppressed and beaten and murdered, and, all throughout basically their history in America. But also, Muslims and women and homosexuals and socialists, and, everybody was being oppressed, and Malcolm was speaking on behalf of them as well. But that when oppression exists, to strike out against it, or to try to change it, be a purpose project or social activism, whatever, or purpose-driven enterprise, whatever you choose to express your purpose as. You don't have to follow all the rules. Meaning, you need to consider that what's creating the conditions that are making people suffer are also the ones that are defining how you can succeed. Meaning, we talk about capitalism as being this kind of great liberating force, and to some extent it is, but it's not equalizing. It's like job discrimination is still happening. In capitalist democracies like the United States, we still have lots of police brutality, incarceration discrimination, where African Americans are being persecuted by 2, 3, 4 to 1 for the same crimes as white Americans. We've got the prison industrial complex. We've got large Fortune 500 companies like McDonald's, Starbucks, and Eddie Bauer employing these unfairly, these discriminated prisoners at pennies on the dollar. So it's literally a slave labor system that we have here in the United States. It's more complex than just straight up slavery, but the effect and the intent is pretty much still the same. We're still oppressing. And so if we think that we can just vote our way to change inequality, or if we can just adhere to the prosperity gospel, just make enough money to be happy, or to free ourselves from poverty or oppression, it's not that it doesn't happen. It's that to do it, you've got to break the rules. You've got to somehow, fundamentally crack the system that allows for this kind of suffering and injustice to occur. Now, you might be asking yourself, what do I know? I'm a 6'2", Ivy-educated white guy about oppression. I mean, I know nothing about what it means to be black or a female or a homosexual or a Muslim, absolutely nothing. And I've had every advantage. So, I'm not speaking as somebody who's been oppressed in those ways. Now, what I do know is that I was oppressed in other ways, and not ways that I'm upset about any longer, but just by virtue of growing up a male in America, there's a certain way I could be. Like I couldn't be sad, I couldn't be fearful, I couldn't be compassionate, I couldn't be. There's all these kind of cultural things that kind of kept my experience of myself to be either numb, so like that strong silent type of like no emotions, just like, you know, flat, kind of stiff upper lip, or like, just kind of German stoicism. So that was acceptable. I could, I could be violent. I could play sports, and I did. I played football and rugby, and got into fights and all that kind of stuff. I could be sexual, so I could experience lust. So I was either like, don't feel anything, feel anger, or feel lust, and that was kind of how the male expression is confined, and it's still confined largely in the Midwest and in other parts as well. But so even though I wasn't, part of these larger racial, social, religious, gender, sexuality of oppression bases, I was part of a gender oppression, enforced by other men, of course. But it was deeply sad, and so that was one of the things that fueled me. That really was like, oh, I've got to figure out why I can't be myself. Why can't I cry? Why can't I love? Why can't I create? Why do I have to be this other version of myself to like make people happy, make my oppressors happy? And it's not that there was ill will or anything like that. I know that for a fact. My parents were loving and did everything they could to bring out my purpose. But the thing is, the culture only allowed them to express so much of themselves. And so they raised me in kind of a similar way. I could only express myself in a certain way. So I want all of you to consider, as you begin to lay the tracks for how your purpose lives in the world, how can you make the world a more just place? How can you break some chains? How can you express part of yourself that has been unwelcomed? How can you crack a mold that you were raised with? How can you be a stand for others not having to suffer the same things? So I urge you to kind of tap into Malcolm, and all the other amazing civil rights leaders. Tap into that and strike out. Let your purpose project be revolutionary. I mean, you might think you have time to do this later. You don't. You don't have time. You've got this one life, this one purpose. Make no illusions. Nobody's going to hand you on a silver platter, okay, you made it now you can do what you want. If you don't strike right now, if you don't create a more purposeful planet, community, job right now, you might not ever get the chance. And that would be sad. That would make me sad. Probably make you way more sad. Because I care about you. I care about your purpose, and I want to see it. More importantly, I want to see it thrive and live and evolve, and I want to support you in doing it. So please, have some fun with this purpose project selection. Think big, think boldly. How can you make the world in your image? See you tomorrow.